it all works. The problem is you, or in this case, the problem is me. See, I've had roughly 8 different businesses and tried my hands in tons of different things, and I failed over and over and over. And the problem wasn't that the business or the opportunity was bad. It was that I just wasn't skilled enough to do it and or didn't have enough grit to push through the hard part to make it work. And see, so people tend to ride this roller coaster of emotion when they're starting things, where they start because they see a new opportunity and they think it's just going to be fantastic and amazing. They start and then suddenly they realize, oh, this is harder than I thought, and they end up in this kind of valley of despair where then they're like, oh, this sucks, and then they start a new thing. But really, the way that successful entrepreneurs go through this is they have that delusions of grandeur. Oh, realize it's not that great. This is hard. And then they push through and then they rise and then it's like, yeah, this is hard, but I'm getting better and it's getting easier. And then now I have a successful business. And something that I've done over and over now is ride it up high, get to that down low spot, and then start over again on a different business, ride the high, get to the low spot, and start over again. And so the problem is you. It's not the opportunity. There's people that are making money, millions of dollars in every little thing, right? And it's just, do you A, have the skills, and B, have the grit to gain the skills? And so, I was in this coaching call, and they come directly at me and say, like, this is the plan. This is what you're supposed to do. Now, are you trying to do X or are you doing X? And those are very big different things. The market doesn't reward trying, because trying doesn't necessarily mean you're doing. Trying means, I put some effort, but I'm not actually doing. Uh, Trying to create content or trying to sell a product, like, that doesn't matter. Like, did you or did you not? Are you doing XYZ steps? And that when in the coaching call when they said that, it just like kind of slapped me in the face. It's like, okay, like, I don't get a cookie for trying. I get a cookie for doing. Like, the market rewards doing and taking action and achieving XYZ result. Like, you like just like in these coaching calls, there's a handful of us, so I get to watch these interactions of like other people going through this also, and it's a reoccurring theme where we all want to get rewarded for trying, but you don't get rewarded for trying. The reward is the result of actually doing what you said you're going to do, and eventually the result's going to happen. It's just, are you taking the steps to get to that result? And trying to take the steps to get to the result means I'm not actually doing. I've put a little bit of effort, but then I gave up. That's what trying means. It means I tried, but it didn't work, so I gave up. That's not doing. And so making sure that you separate those. Trying doesn't matter. Like, if you're just trying, like, you can try sushi, but you know what? That means you ate it, and it could go one of two ways. Either you liked it and you eat it more, or you don't like it and you stop doing it. And that's the problem. Just trying means there's opportunity for you to stop and not do the action. But you have to do the action to get the result. And so in these coaching calls, that I get to watch everyone else work through their same problems, and over I see that instead of like solving the problem, they try to go around them. Like, you can't go around the problem, you have to work through it. And I see this, like, the biggest example is there's this woman on our coaching calls, and instead of solving a problem, going through one channel, solving one channel, getting success in one channel, she just starts a new one, a new one, a new one. So instead of putting her product on just Amazon and selling there and making that successful, I tried on Amazon, now let me try to sell on Facebook shop. Okay, that didn't work, let me try on TikTok shop. Okay, that didn't work, let me try on Shopify. And okay, that didn't work. Let me go to a farmer's market. And now all of her efforts spread across 5 things, and no wonder none of them are successful because she hasn't put focused effort in any one. And again, it goes back to that: are you doing or are you trying? You have to work through your problem. You can't work around the problem. And that kind of gets into the next point, which is like, in general, it's really easy to overcomplicate things. Like, we face a problem, like before even doing, I catch myself doing this, and it's there's got to be an easier way to do this. And so then instead of we'll use the example of digging a hole. There's got to be an easier way to dig this hole. And so then I go ahead and I sit and I think and I research for 6 hours about the best way to dig a hole. When had I started digging the hole, 5.5 hours ago, I'd be done. Like, it takes 30 minutes of hard work, but I was walking around the bush over and over and over thinking, there's got to be an easier way. I can optimize this. But in reality, like, you don't have to optimize it. It doesn't have to be optimized. Optimization happens after the doing. And so one of the big things on the call today was like, do the thing 100 times and then you optimize. Just understand that you have to get the reps in. If you want to get bigger, if you want to get stronger, you have to go to the gym and you have to work out regularly. But if the first gym session you ever have, everyone's yelling at you and you have to make sure your form is perfect, like, you're not going to go again. That's not a good experience. And so what happens by trying to optimize too early is you end up being a trier, not a doer. And trying doesn't matter. You don't get a cookie for trying. You get a cookie for doing. And that means that at the start anyways, you have to do the things that are unscalable in a business. And that means when you're initially selling something, you have to start talking to your customers one-on-one. Now, that doesn't work at scale when you're selling to 1,000 people daily, or 25 people daily even. It would be too much to manage. But at the start, you need to really dial in and make sure every single person, because they're so precious, like when you're initially selling anything, those people are so precious because you could get valuable data of like, okay, ultimately, what am I doing right that got you to walk in the door and got you to hand me, your money in exchange for whatever it is. And having that conversation and saying, okay, like, ultimately, how did you find me? What do you like most about the product? And guess what? Then you get to double down on those things because you know those things work. At the start, it's almost like you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall. You're just trying literally anything, and you basically have to do those 100 reps and suck for, those first 100 reps before you really gain any traction. And so we want to do something like a handful of times, and then, okay, well, I'm like kind of okay at this. Let me see what I can do to shortcut my results. And really, the shortest path through with the problem is through it, not around it. And the digging a hole example is the perfect one. It's like, you can sit and think and brainstorm and do all these things about how to make this problem easier and how to make this problem not a problem. Or you could just deal with the problem and boom, shakalaka, you're done. And you get to move on with your life and get to face the next problem. And that's all entrepreneurship is. It's like solving problem after problem after problem. And being able to burst through each one of those barriers because A, you have enough skill to, and B, you have grit. And then, at a certain point, it becomes realizing what the problem actually is. And that's in the bigger idea of why you shouldn't optimize. You should just do the thing 100 times and then you can optimize. And that's because when you're just starting, you don't know the lay of the land, what really is the big levers you can pull. And so you might be optimizing something that really doesn't matter. And ultimately, it's just going to waste your time. You're not going to get any traction. You're going to get discouraged, and then you're going to want to stop, and you become a trier, not a doer. Moral of the story, don't be a trier. Be a doer. Push through your problems. Do the thing 100 times, and then optimize, then figure out how can I make this better. That's all I got for. Thanks.